Have you ever been called monster for something just because you were born? My twin sister Maya died during birth, and I survived, which apparently made me the villain in my own family's story from day one. I learned this when I was 7, finding hospital bracelets in my mom's jewelry box while playing dress up. 2 tiny plastic bands, one with Maya's name marked deceased and mine labeled survivor, like I'd won some twisted competition neither of us had asked to enter. Growing up, our house had 2 of everything. 2 beds in my room where Maya's side stayed perfectly made, the pink comforter never wrinkled. 2 place settings at dinner where mom would put food on Maya's plate, always the best portions, then scrape it into the garbage while crying softly, whispering apologies to the empty chair. 2 Christmas stockings where Maya's would be filled with letters about how much she missed her perfect angel baby. Dad dealt with it differently and somehow worse. He'd stare at me during dinner with this intense, searching look, like he was trying to see Maya's face in mine. Whenever I got sick or hurt myself, he'd mutter things like, "Of course the wrong one survived," under his breath, thinking I couldn't hear him, but I heard everything. Kids always do. The worst was family photos where they'd position me on one side and leave an empty space on the other, mom's arm curved around nothing where Maya should have been. When relatives asked about the weird spacing, Dad would launch into elaborate stories about Maya being the special one, painting vivid pictures of her imaginary achievements, while I sat right there listening to how wonderful my dead sister would have been compared to disappointing, ordinary me. School events were pure torture because other kids' families would show up excited and proud. Mine came reluctantly, like they'd been sentenced to community service. When I made honor roll, mom would sigh and say Maya would have been number 1. When I scored the winning goal in soccer, Dad would mention how Maya probably would have gotten a full scholarship. Teachers started pulling me aside, asking if everything was okay at home because they could see how different my parents acted. When I turned 16, something in me snapped and I started researching Maya obsessively, trying to understand what made a baby who lived for 37 minutes so much more valuable than one who'd been alive for 16 years. I requested medical records, called the hospital, pieced together the truth they'd never told me. Maya had been born with severe brain damage and multiple organ defects. She wouldn't have survived anyway, wouldn't have become anyone or anything. The doctors had been clear, even if she'd lived longer, she would have faced a lifetime of suffering and limitations. My parents had spent 16 years mourning a fantasy while resenting the healthy child they actually had. I confronted them with the medical records, my hands shaking as I spread the papers across the kitchen table. Instead of apologizing, Dad screamed that I was selfish for not understanding their grief. Mom locked herself in the bathroom, crying about how I was trying to steal Maya's memory, like acknowledging reality was somehow betraying their dead daughter. That night, lying in my bed next to Maya's eternally perfect one, I realized they didn't just prefer Maya because she was dead. They preferred her because she was perfect in their minds, while I was real and flawed and complicated. Nothing I ever did would compete with their imagination of who she might have been. I moved in with my grandmother the next week, finished high school, got into college on my own merit, and built a life where being alive wasn't treated like an inconvenience. I surrounded myself with people who valued me for who I actually was instead of resenting me for who I wasn't.